Hi students, so I am making my video a little bit later today because some of you have just gotten your packets today, or you may not have even gotten it yet. You may get it tomorrow. So if you get it tomorrow, you can watch the video tomorrow so that it will help you, or you can watch today and then you'll know how to set it up. Either way is fine. So if you look at your weekly agenda, this is week 1. So we're kind of like starting over again. So this is for 3 weeks. So this is week 1. Next week will be week 2, and then third week until May 22nd. And then we will know more on the rest of the school year. So for now, today is your assignment begins with reading. You're reading your Scholastic News. And the Scholastic News is the Civil War, about the Civil War spy. So for today, you have to read pages 2 and 3, and it's titled A Spy in Disguise. So I'll read that out loud, and then I'll go over the worksheets where you have to go back into the article and find information. Okay, so let's get started. A Spy in Disguise. During the Civil War, Sarah Emma Edmonds disguised herself as a man to serve as a soldier in the spy and a spy. As you read, you're going to underline examples in the story about how she acted bravely, so that you're also annotating for information. Before we start reading, I want you to look at the map. Those are our text boxes. So this article is about the Civil War. So the map is going to help you understand a little bit better when we talk about the Civil War. So the states that are not green and not purple, so they're like a light tan, those, if you notice, they are called territories, like Dakota Territory or Nebraska Territory. Those were not states yet in 1861. The states that are either green or purple were states, and some chose to go with the Union Army or the Northern Army, is sometimes what it's referred to, or the Confederate or the Southern Army, and those are in purple. So that'll help you set up what it means by a civil war. A civil war is typically a war that describes a war that goes on within a country, so it's one side against another. So this is going to be about our Civil War in the United States. So I will start reading. It was May 1861. A month earlier, so in April 1861, a battle had broken out in the United States. Americans in the northern and southern states had begun fighting each other. So in the green states and the purple states, northern again are green, southern are the purple. They began to fight each other in what became known as the Civil War. Now the armies on both sides needed soldiers. Men rushed to enlist or to sign up to fight. In Michigan, a young woman named Sarah Emma Edmonds snuck in line with the men. Back then, it was against the law for women to serve in the military. So Edmonds disguised herself in men's clothes and changed her name to Frank Thompson. It worked. Edmonds became a soldier in the North Union Army. So that was the first section. The next section, as you can see, is entitled A Divided Nation. And some of your questions are about just that section. So you'll notice as you look at the questions, they may refer to a section. So I'll help you as we go through that. So A Divided Nation. Edmonds had moved from Canada a few years earlier. She loved America, and now it was splitting apart. The Civil War began after several southern states decided to break away from the United States, the rest of the United States. They didn't want President Abraham Lincoln to end slavery across the United States, so they formed their own nation known as the Confederacy. So you may wonder, why would those southern states, and we talked about this at the beginning of the year, I believe, why would those southern states in purple want slavery and not the green? So during this time, there was slavery. Most of it was in the South at this time. And the reason was those southern states grew crops like tobacco and cotton. And there were not tractors at that time to help the landowners harvest whatever crop they were growing. So they used slaves to harvest whatever crop. So that was the real reason behind it. Was about slavery, but that's why the southern states wanted slavery and felt like they needed the slaves, and the northern states did not need the slaves. They didn't have crops that they needed to use slaves for, so they were very against it. And some people in the South were against it, but as a majority, if you grew crops, you had slaves. So Lincoln hoped to reunite the nation, and he was willing to go to war to do it. So he wanted to unite them not just on the Civil War, but against the idea of slavery. So the next section is called A Soldier and Spy. Edmonds fought to keep her country together. She served in the Union Army for 2 years. Disguised as a man, she gave medical care to injured soldiers. She raced on horseback to deliver messages to near the front lines. According to her writings, so she must have kept a journal, so writing's important. According to her writings, Edmonds even worked as a spy. Once she dressed as a baker and went behind Confederate lines to sell cakes. She was able to learn about the enemy's plans. Every time she went on a spy mission, she risked being captured or killed. The next section is a happy ending. In 1863, Edmonds caught malaria, a serious illness. She knew that if she went to the Army hospital, a doctor would examine her. She worried she would be discovered, says historian Audrey Scanlon Teller. She had to leave the Army. When the war ended in 1865, Edmonds was happy to see the nation reunited. Later, she told her story to the government. It agreed to give her the same payments that male veterans received. Scanlon Teller believes that Edmonds deserved it. She risked so much to be a soldier, says Scanlon Teller. And then you notice just some information about the war on the side and then text boxes, so we might have to refer back to that. So let's look at our questions. So if you go to, so I'm going to scroll down so you can see. I'll get back to these graphs and information sheets in a bit. Let's see. Okay, so both of these writings are about a spy in disguise. So what is the main idea of the section, A Divided Nation? So that is just this section. That's why I pointed those out as I read. So what's the main idea of just this section? If you go back and reread, skim and scan that, you're going to see that the main idea of that section is that the Civil War was a war that was fought between the northern and the southern states, and it was a war that was fought over slavery. So it was between the North and South, and it was because the southern states wanted slavery and the northern states did not. President Abraham Lincoln was willing to go to war to end slavery, so he knew that it might cause a lot of disagreement. He thought it might cause a war, and so that's why the Civil War happened, was because people were arguing or fighting over the idea of slavery. Okay, so that's the main idea for A Divided Nation. Number 2, what risks did Sarah Emma Edmonds face by serving in the Union Army? Well, she faced the risk of being captured because she was sneaking. So first of all, if she would have been caught or even seen, maybe she was dressed up as a man, but when she went behind enemy lines, she may have sold the cakes as a woman without the North knowing. But if she did that, she could be a spy, and the Southern Army would not expect her to be part of the Northern Army because she was a woman. I'm not sure if she did that. I just know that she did go behind enemy lines to sell cakes. So she risked being captured and being killed, for one. And what else does it say? It just says every time she went on a spy mission, she risked being captured or killed. So you can write that sentence and maybe explain a little bit about why she would be captured or killed. And then you could even say a little bit about why she decided to join the Army if you like. But if you just answer in one or two sentences, that should be enough. What is the purpose of the map on page 2? So we went over that. So I want you to go back and look at it. Look at the legend. Remember, the key or the legend on a map tells you information about that map. So go back and either re-listen or just use your ideas and look at what it's telling you. What is the purpose of it? Okay, so time to race. As you read Spy in Disguise, think about the questions below and then use race. Remember, So the R is restate, A is answer, C is cite evidence. So we're going to go back into the text and find some evidence, and then explain it. Anything that supports your idea. Okay, so in what ways was Sarah Emma Edmonds brave? Use 3 details from the article to support your responses. So restate the question. So Sarah Emma Edmonds was brave when she enlisted in the Union Army to help fight in the Civil War. She was brave when she snuck behind enemy lines or snuck in the South into the Confederate Army's territory to sell cakes. And she was brave when she, let's see, when she was used as a spy. Does it explain that into more detail? Uh, no, it doesn't. Just used her idea of being a spy when she sold cakes. Okay, and then she also maybe just being brave when she disguised herself as a man to join the army. So any of that will work. And you can use some of your own ideas. Okay, answer. So then, so your answer and restate, you would have to restate briefly. Sarah Emma Edmonds was brave when she joined the Union Army to fight against the Confederate Army. Answer. So this is where you might use a little bit more information. She was brave when she disguised herself as a Union soldier or enlisted disguised as a man. She was brave when she went behind enemy lines to sell cakes, and she was brave when she was a part of the war and helped men who were injured. So any of that will work. Cite evidence. So you're going to, whatever you put, you have to go in and cite evidence that says exactly. So you might copy a sentence like, Edmonds worked as a spy. She went behind Confederate lines to sell cakes. That's found exactly in the text. Explain. So when was she brave? Was any of the things that you put, explain a little bit further. So decide which one you're writing about or which two, and then explain those a little bit more. Okay. Your next assignment, let me scroll back up. So after you do the Scholastic News and you read independently, make sure you're keeping track of that in your journal. And then your journal writing is to use the article gorilla. And then you're also going to be doing language and spelling capitalization for that under the writing as well. So let's go to the article gorilla. I believe it's in here. There it is. So remember, annotate as you read. So you're going to be writing using race again. What is the main idea of this article? So you're going to read, then go back in and reread, annotate for evidence that is helping you understand and explain the main idea. So let me read it with you. Gorilla. Gorillas live in Central Africa. They can be found in both Eastern and Western countries such as Cameroon, the Congo, Uganda, and Rwanda. Their habitats range from swamps to forests. Lowland gorillas live in bamboo forests, swamps, and lowland forests. Mountain gorillas are found in forests Let me get that back up. Just trying to touch on it and let me find my article. Okay, I'm going to go back to here. So mountain gorillas are found in forests located in the mountains. Gorillas live in groups called troops or bands. Each troop or band has one dominant male, some females, and their offspring, so their children. Gorillas are generally calm and passive, but will defend their troop if they feel threatened. A gorilla's day is divided between rest periods and travel or feeding periods. Gorillas are mostly herbivores and eat plants. They may eat leaves, stems, fruit, and bamboo. Occasionally, they will eat insects, such as ants. Full-grown gorillas eat about 50 pounds of food in a day. That's a lot. Gorillas are the largest species of primates. Males are often twice the size of the females. Males can weigh around 400 pounds and grow to be around 5.5 feet tall. Females grow to be about 4.5 feet tall and weigh around 200 pounds. Gorillas have long arms. They're often longer than their legs. They use their long arms to knuckle walk. This is where they use their knuckles on their hand to walk on all fours. Gorillas have hand and feet like humans. They have knuckles as well as thumbs and big toes. They are highly intelligent. They have been observed using tools in the wild. Gorillas in captivity have learned to use sign language to communicate with humans. They can live to be around 35 years old. In captivity, they can live longer, up to 50 years. Remember our gorilla study that we did on Ivan? He lived a long time, didn't he? Baby gorillas stay in their mother's nest until they are around 2.5 years old. Both mountain and lowland gorillas are endangered. The term endangered means the animal is in danger of becoming extinct. This means there will be no more of these animals alive on Earth. Gorillas are considered endangered because there are very few of them left alive on Earth. Through conservation efforts, the population of gorillas has doubled in the past 3 decades. So a decade is 10 years. So the past 30 years, there are now over 1,000 gorillas found in the wild. This is a success story for this species. Gorillas will continue to be protected in hopes that their species will continue to thrive. Okay. So, restate the question. So, what is the main idea? The main idea of this article is to learn about gorillas living in Central Africa, or the main idea is gorillas in the gorillas in the world or in the wild. So, you're going to, so that could be your topic sentence. You're restating the question and then answer. And so now you're going to use evidence from the article. So if it's about gorillas, what do we learn about gorillas? You could tell me what they look like, how they're intelligent, and how they're becoming endangered. Those are 3 really good ideas that you could use to answer with. Cite the evidence from the text and then explain a little bit more. So you've got the full page, so try to use it all. Okay, here's your capitalizing page. So capitalize titles, words we can capitalize in a book or movie. So here are some ideas. The first word, the last word, nouns, pronouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs. Hopefully you'll remember what those all mean. We've done all of those this year, but it's been a while since we've been in the classroom. So you might have to look them up. If you have questions, your parents can ask me on Remind. I can even copy and paste some pages that you might be able to access so you can look it up, because if you just get told over and over, it doesn't stick in your brain. But if you have a page you can look at and you look at it and read it, the definition, you will remember it better. So try to do as much as you can on your own. So the articles a and the in the middle of the title. So these are other things that you're going to look at, but you don't usually capitalize. So like a movie, like the book, let me go with that one, The One and Only Ivan. So the doesn't necessarily have to be capitalized. However, it was the beginning of the sentence, so it did, but not always. Other words like and, like words that are small words, and, but, or, nor, those are in the middle, and these are prepositions like of or for, to or on. Remember, prepositions are prepositional phrase, the cat sat on the chair. On the chair is a prepositional phrase. So on is your preposition. So short prepositions like of or for or to or on or in or as. So those are parts that may not need to be capitalized. So use the rules above to rewrite each title correctly on the line. Beauty and the Beast. So beauty, first word has to be capitalized, and does not. The Beast. Okay, we read the, it's in the middle of a sentence. We don't usually capitalize, so we're not going to capitalize and or the word beast. We are, because it is not just because it's a last word, but because it's a noun. So the beauty and the beast, they were actual people, so we would capitalize those. Okay, you work on the rest, and if you have questions, you can ask me and Remind, and then I will look at your answers when I pick up the packet. So work on lesson practice 13. And I will upload a video that explains. So this is lesson 13 practice. So these are from your iReady. So these are like word problems we did in iReady. So they might be familiar to you, hopefully. So do the best you can. We've done this. I want you to work on this on your own. If you need help reading, have someone help you, but really try to do it on your own. And then I will come back in later and help you read, look at the question, and figure out which one is the best. So I will be talking to you in a little while.